we are back. This is AR's Tales, aka the A.R.T podcast. I am A.R. Minaban, and today I am joined by R.K. Gold, host of the Your Morning Guru podcast. It's also a daily live stream. He's also the author of Lost in the Clouds and Father in the Forest, which is a children's story, actually. So
something like that. It's a children's story the same way probably Adventure Time is, in that I do it for the kids that are going to grow up to be stoners and then reflect on it and go, whoa.
Fuck. Oh my God. All right. I just had a brain blast that there's not even a point in.
Okay, Jimmy Neutron.
Yeah. I just had a great, just crazy idea. I'm going to hold on to that for just a second.
Well, if you're not writing for the kids that become stoners, what are you doing? I mean, that's what Nickelodeon did, and look how successful they've been.
Man, and the whole thing is that I was actually talking.
Was Ren and Stimpy for straight, like, was Ren and Stimpy for kids that never touched drugs? Nah, Ren and Stimpy were for the kids that would grow up and start doing pot.
Look, you look back at like Looney Tunes, they were progressive before progressive. Bugs Bunny was cross-dressing, doing everything you can imagine. You know what I mean? Physics, what is physics? He would just pop, turn, anvil in his hand. Weight, what is weight? I mean, just the whole character was created like, I don't know, that entire thing. And even certain episodes that aren't, you have to like YouTube, you know what I mean? Those crazy episodes, those were definitely made on whatever the fuck acid of their time was, without a single doubt.
Yeah, Disney Plus.
I do. I definitely
have you watched the old time Disney cartoons? Like the original ones and shit? Yeah, because they have the Disney Vault on there. And they have all like the old time Disney cartoons, like Pied Piper, like the original Mickey Mouse cartoons. I think they even have some. Yeah, Steamboat Willie. Yeah, they have that. Yeah, that's the first one.
And Fantasia?
They have both Fantasia and Fantasia 2000. Check out all the old cartoons on Disney. That's a wild. Do you smoke?
Yeah.
Yeah, just smoke and watch those. Tomorrow's Saturday. You'll have a good day.
I mean, I'll be honest. That's like redundant with me. If you tell me to watch anything, that's included.
Yeah, fantastic. Then you're on the right. You're on the right path. No, honestly, Disney Plus is. It's becoming one of my favorite streaming services for that. I mean, actually, I can even say that HBO Max has, because HBO Max has Looney Tunes, which you were just talking about,
and Codename Kids Next Door. I mean, that's just my shit.
And Samurai Jack.
You're right. I haven't watched.
They have Samurai Jack. Yeah,
I've been running through Codename.
Oh fuck! Why are we even doing a podcast? Let's just watch Samurai Jack.
Oh my God, we should.
We're wasting our time.
Like that show was actually like such a great. I actually wonder, what do you think? Do you think it was inspired by Star Wars? Because I always wonder what is like the root origin of a lot of things, and just like that whole samurai aspect mixed with the sci-fi. Like I wonder which came first. You know what I mean? Like did they?
Star Wars came before Samurai Jack, obviously, because Star Wars was in the 70s. But I don't know if Samurai Jack was inspired by that.
No, but you know how like Inception works. Like they probably got like they got the idea like when they were like kids, and then they were like, fuck, goddamn Star Wars motherfuckers again. You know, you never had that, like when you have like an idea for a book, and then like Netflix drops a new series, and you're like, goddamn, they have eardrops on my computer. I know they do. They got me.
I feel like our ideas all come from. I mean, we all are inspired by like the same thoughts and the same creative influences. So just to say that we have a truly unique idea is rather arrogant. Now, there's a difference between being influenced by something and like straight up stealing something. So I would never support the latter. But finding influence in creative consumption that's not a problem. And if you have a good idea and you see that there's a book, a show, or a movie that's already based on a similar idea, your twist on the story is still going to make it unique.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I guess that thinking is more of like an artifact of before I actually got to writing. You know, when you have like this idea of like, oh, like, you know, I'm going to write the next great XYZ. I'm going to do exactly what I read Philip K. Dick do and Asimov do. I'm going to just follow that screen out my whole like new idea. But when you really start reading and you get into it, I mean, the industry is insane. And like,
why do you write?
Why do I write?
Yeah.
I honestly, like, I used to like,
or better yet, why do you publish or pursue publishing? That's a better way of putting it. Because writing can be an incredibly personal experience, but the decision to publish, that's different.
Well, I really like that question. And really what it is I would say that the publishing aspect is more because I really like philosophical discourse. And I guess the idea is that like my fantasy would be that I would just, you know, I don't know, be at like a bar or something, and somebody goes up and goes like, hey, XYZ. is it true? Like, are you that person? And then they sit down and then we have like a long, great conversation about whatever it is. And it doesn't even have to be a bar. I mean, it could be on Instagram, just like being able to speak to a person that is not within my head about basically an allegorical story that I made to kind of think about those type of things. I mean, my inspirations are Matrix, the Foundation series, iRobot, things that kind of speak to the what's the word here? Transcendental, what's the word? Existential, right there, like the existential meaning of like what human is, and specifically with the engineering background, how science and technology kind of morphs into that. So the publishing aspect definitely comes from that. The writing aspect, I would say, is kind of just obsession, really. It's more like I had no idea of getting into writing. It was never a fantasy I had when I was a child or anything like that. It was more just something that kind of came over me until one day I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to write this down just out of necessity. I can't just have this in my head anymore.
So you are doing it so that the one person in the bar will notice you and come over to you and talk philosophy with you.
Well, again, that was like a bad example. It was more just like to be able to open like.
Well, my question is, are you doing it? Are you doing it for the discourse, or are you doing it for discourse that you're directly involved in?
I would say more discourse. I mean, that's the reason for like the podcast. Jesus, it's windy as fuck over here.
I just assumed that you were like being attacked by giants.
So you heard that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I heard that.
What the hell? Like literally the my ceiling panels just like lifted up. That's the craziest thing. I've never seen one like that. You think I'm in like Barbados or something, in like a fucking at the beach, but no.
Are you?
Well,
because that's not a bad that's not a bad hideout for COVID, I'm assuming.
It could be like a setup, like a Ryan Seacrest type of thing, that there's just like a fake wall behind me. Like you zoom out just a little bit more. I'm like on a beach. I just fucking, I'm already in my bathing suit. I just get up. All right.
Well, yeah. Why would you want to hide that? I mean, just record the podcast on the beach.
Well, yeah, right. And just have it zoomed out a little bit. Still have the fake wall there just for notoriety, just to like say that you pretend to write, I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I like shit. I guess my question about writing is, or publishing specifically, is it's more on a personal level when I think about me and my personal journey with writing. I mean, I think I went into writing for all the wrong reasons. Like when I first started writing, I think I went into it for fame, which is probably the worst thing that you can go into writing for.
Well, like anything, really.
But especially writing, because writing, the chances of you achieving that goal are so slim to begin with. And if that's all you want, you're better off doing this, like a podcast or making YouTube videos, and all that effort put into writing for fame. Not only are you going to not yield the best results, you're not going to master the craft itself. You're sort of neglecting the important aspects of writing, and it's not even an efficient use of time. Because I don't think pursuing fame is inherently wrong, especially since everyone wants it. I mean, just take a look at, and I can't say everyone, just because the absolutes are always wrong, including that one. But I can just say that in a day where social media and measuring people's worth based on follower count, fame is on most people's minds at all times. And I define fame by just by elevated amounts of attention, not by like A-list, B-list, or C-list or anything. I just mean like elevated amounts of attention. It changes for each person what that amount of attention is. And there are just more efficient ways to achieve it than writing. And so the more I thought about it and wondered why I wanted it to be linked to writing specifically, I think I just had this warped sense of like, if you're famous as a writer, it's like some foundation of like righteous fame, like you've been deemed both intelligent and entertaining, as opposed to other forms of creativity. It was just some bizarre, wacko, horrible intentions pursuit of writing, which I'm thankful didn't ruin writing for me, because I definitely like where I'm with writing right now, which is much more in line with what you're doing. I like your reasons for writing, for wanting to encourage discourse, because I think if you're not writing to question something, or at the very least to spark a conversation, it doesn't even have to be an important conversation. It could be a conversation on, is it better to eat sourdough or rye bread? But just having that conversation, that's why you should be writing, because otherwise it's just what's the point? I definitely subscribe to the philosophy that your writing has to mean something. Otherwise it's what's the point? that's why it just about every, like from save the cat to the take off your pants method to just about any other method, it always asks you to state your theme. The theme doesn't have to be some life-changing theme, but it still needs to have a theme.
Man, I'm gonna have to clean up my brain splatter from the back over there in a little bit. No,
Nick.
Nickelodeon. No, I really love that answer because, to be honest, I guess part of the reason why not only do I also subscribe to the idea, but it's because, again, writing wasn't a thing that I had in my, it wasn't in the cards for me. I was in engineering school. That's where my head was at. If you ask me about like if my dream outside of that would be like, oh, I really like I don't know, directing movies and drawing, shit like that. But for whatever reason, even if I wasn't getting paid for writing, I just like writing. For as much stress as it gives me, and I can tell you it's a fucking stressful, especially the editing process and all those things, but I generally like writing. You know what I mean? Like there's just something about it. It just like feels like almost like a swan in the water, whatever that analogy is. Just like you just feels like you're in your element. Like, you know, like
writing or writing stories.
Oh man, now that's
like, do you journal?
I would say more writing stories. I've never been a journaler, even when
I started journaling. It's fun, man.
And like, do you start at a personal level or do you start more in like a comedic level? I think that's the only way I would be able to start at a comedic level.
Well, I'm almost thinking you might even be overthinking it. And again, journaling is an incredibly personal experience. And what's beautiful about it is it's the one form of writing that you do just for yourself. I mean, if you're writing a blog post, that's going to be seen by people. If you're writing a book, you're hoping that's going to be seen by people. Journaling, if it's seen by people, you're probably doing it wrong. So it's the most honest you can be with yourself, which is just a sort of beautiful thing. And how do I do it? I used to take it, again, like everything and all my great mistakes, I took it too seriously at first. And you get this sort of journal burnout where you'll miss a day and you'll just think, okay, I'll make up for it the next day. And when you first start journaling, you are super excited to journal. So you fill like 5 pages and you try and capture every detail of your day in it. And then when you miss a day and you promise to do it the next day and you're thinking to myself, oh my God, I have to handwrite 10 pages. I'm not going to do that. And then you fall out of the habit. So what I started doing at first to get into journaling was just a simple exercise of summing up my day in 1 sentence. And then it becomes a habit, because if you do it like for 2 weeks straight or like 10 days straight, it becomes a habit and you just start journaling and you slowly start journaling more and more. There's no wrong way to journal. If you're starting off small and you're just doing it for sum up your day in 1 sentence, the important thing is that you're doing it every day, because then you're building that habit. I read this book, Atomic Habits, this year, and it's probably been the best book I've read in some time, because it was all about habit creation. And you study philosophy outside of your engineering background, so you've expanded both sides of your mind, like the beautiful genius that you are. But as far as like thinking and develop, like as far as thinking with philosophy is concerned, it was either Plato or Aristotle who said like we are our habits. And so a habit is probably one of the most powerful things that you have control over, and creating good habits is one of those powerful tools that we have. And creating a habit of journaling is easy as just summing up your day in 1 sentence for 10 days in a row or something like that. And then you'll start adding to it and adding your own flavor to it once you learn the notes.
Man, that's interesting. And do you think journaling elevates your writing elsewhere?
No, I just think it's journaling, and I don't think it's. I think I think it's just me being able to write down ideas that I don't even realize I want to say. That's all it is. Like, I don't think it elevates my writing. I don't think, if anything, it elevates me. And even that just feels a little out of context or out of whack to say out loud. I think it's just an opportunity for me to write down the things to clear the waste. I mean, we have to shit and piss every day, but we don't do the same thing with our brain.
My God, that's
the ideas.
phenomenal.
Thanks. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Like, it really is such a nuanced idea to me. I would say my version of journaling is I'm definitely that type of weirdo that likes to go, you know, and have a nice little bowl or XYZ to myself and just like, you know, really decompress and take like a really decent amount of time doing it. Just like look at the sky and just really think about my day. And I mean, I do that pretty frequently, at least a couple times a day. And that to me is kind of like my version of journaling. But even then, no, but yeah, because like I kind of journal without writing it down, I suppose. But even then, writing something down really does activate a different side of your brain. I think it just like allows you to it's like when you draw. When you draw, you have a vision in your head, but then when you get down to actually drawing it, it's a way different fucking beast until you really get the skill level to be able to do that. So I
Yeah,
wonder
that's
if
speaking too. I mean, our thought, like,
exactly.
people trip over their words all the time, and when I was young and arrogant and stupid, I would either make fun of them for it or think I'm better than them for it. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. The fact of the matter is, they probably have a really beautiful thought in their head that they're just struggling to express because it's never a one-to-one translation. I mean, the words that we're saying to one another are not the same thoughts that we have in our head. Something does get lost because the pure imagination that we have in our minds cannot be translated into English or Spanish or whatever language that you speak. I just said the two that you know. You probably are better at it because you know multiple languages, so you're more expressive. But the imagination can't. It's not a one-to-one translation with any language except imagination, which we don't have a language for.
Now, you see, I love that because the first time my brain ever really woke up to literature was during Shakespeare. It was like, and I know cliche, but it was just something that my English teacher said in my freshman year English class, that it was just like he was diagnosing like the whole little a rose by any other name would be just as sweet, and he was like breaking it down. He was like, what Shakespeare is saying essentially is that words are nothing without the intent behind them. Like if we lived in a universe where the word rose was shit and shit was a rose, it wouldn't make any difference of what it actually was. Like you would still pick up a shit flower and smell and be like, oh, this shit smells amazing. And then you would just like, go to the bathroom and be like, oh, I just dropped the rose in there. It wouldn't take away from anything. It's just like the intent and like the weight that we put on the words. So, and to go with the whole different languages thing, it's even because I only know two out of like the fucking, I don't even know how many languages we have. And I love studying other languages just to see how other words don't exist in other languages. Know what I mean? Like how Spanish will have some words and that don't exist in English and vice versa and everything's like that. It's just like that in itself is so fucking interesting because that means that they literally have words to express different emotions. Like how do different people have different emotions? Like we all are human. Yeah, we have different words to express different emotions. That's how fucked up our language is. It's so like rudimentary to the actual intent behind our emotions,
Pues necesito practicar mi español más. Lo siento.
At first, I thought you were talking French.
Yeah, see, I really got to practice then. But as far as what you were saying, it's absolutely true. It's why people say, like, they'll talk about Hegel, and then they'll be like, but have you read him in his original language? It's like, no, I haven't.
It sounds so uppity at first, like, all right, guy. But it really is true. It does, like, it really does lean into it. Because, like, they just express themselves better. It's like watching a movie with subtitles versus not. You know what I mean? Like, have you seen that movie Parasite, for example?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine, well, like you watch that movie with subtitles and you just like hear them talking their natural language. Is a beautiful movie. You hear it with subs on, and it like takes away from it. You know what I mean?
It takes away from it in that you're so focused on reading that you're missing out on the movie. I agree with you on that front.
I guess it goes back and forth because I would say that, but I don't know. Are you a fan of anime or like any like foreign things like that?
I love anime when I watch it. I don't watch too many. But like, the ones I've seen, I enjoy. I've seen one season of Attack on Titan. I like Black Butler. I love Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Yeah, how about you?
Well, kind of nuanced.
Death Note, obviously.
I've never seen Death Note. Like, I've never seen any of like the big ones. I think I've seen Attack on Titan one season, just like you. Haven't seen anything else that you've said.
Oh, you're a cool anime watcher. You're an alternate. You're alternative's alternative.
I don't know. Like I just watched Akira and I fucking loved it. And like what you said about like, the whole idea that all ideas are kind of come from like a common pool. Akira actually nails that right on the head. Like one of the big sci-fi elements of it is that there's this force Akira that literally is all of like everything. Like all
your mom nailed it right on the head.
Hey.
No, but that's beautiful. Are you talking Akira, the movie, or
yeah,
is it
like
a show?
Like the red bike,
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
Yeah,
where the guy where the one kid actually becomes God.
I am Tetsuo. Yeah, I was like, that is a movie. That's on some
that's not the direction I was expecting this to go. That movie's fucked up.
Man. Fucked up, man.
That movie gets graphic as hell. I watched that with my buddy AG. He lives in Australia. And we watched Ghibli movies together. And he was like, "You want to watch more of a cyberpunk movie?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." Because we were talking about maybe co-authoring a cyberpunk book together. And we watched it. And I was like, "Shit, I don't think I want to write cyberpunk anymore."
That shit is graphic, man.
That shit was, I mean, to be fair, like cyberpunk doesn't have to be like that. But that fucking movie, man. First off, there is something to be said about anything to do with becoming God and killing God. That's always an interesting conflict in books, and it's something that I feel like is a bit of a cheat code for deeper meaning. If you're writing a book that involves killing a god, then you can really fast track your way to saying like, hey, my book's on a different philosophical plane than yours. Bring it.
Yeah, I really guess so, huh? Well, especially like with anime loves doing that, which is actually something that like I find really interesting. How anime loves bringing in like elements from Christianity and like Judaism and like a whole bunch of like those type of religions and mythologies and things like that. Like I wonder where that came from. Like I wonder if that by like just historically if that had anything to do with just like the colonization of like knights and everything, kind of just moving in and them just seeing like, oh hey, those fucking people on the horses are doing that shit, look very different than us, but look kind of cool too. I wonder if it was that, like the same way that we do to that, like like, oh man, those samurai swords over there look pretty lit.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you have an idea, so I'm gonna trust you on that idea and why it's like that. I'm not sure.
Well, to kind of segue, there was something that we because the first time we met was on the Books by Adrian podcast live stream on last Sunday or whatever it was.
Yeah, cool dude.
Yeah,
cool dude, doing cool things.
Yeah, definitely check him out. Books by Adrian, awesome podcast, BookTuber. But you are from New Orleans. Well, you live in New Orleans. I don't know where you're from necessarily.
From Buffalo. I've lived in New Orleans full time since January 2019. I always wanted to live down here. So I finally did after I got my master's degree.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, what do you have your master's in?
Economics.
Oh, good shit. That's awesome.
Thank you. I usually joke and say I got my degree so I could get better at arguing with people on Twitter, but I still suck at that. So
they're
I guess at least I still got my degree.
Well, one thing that's like I always found like really cool about New Orleans is that it has like such a vibrant culture and such a vibrant history. I'm a huge history buff, so do you think just in the environment that you're in, do you think that influences your writing or anything, or gives you new ideas for things, or lets you explore new themes that you normally wouldn't have when you were in Buffalo?
Well, the book I just sent off to my editor, well, not just sent off, the book I'm waiting for my editor to finish editing takes place in New Orleans. So I'd say it inspires me to an extent. But yeah, I mean, I do think that like when I clear up my goals now of what I want to be as an author, I want to be a New Orleans author. So that does help. I think that there's no other place I'd rather live. There's no other place I'd rather celebrate. So it absolutely inspires my writing. It's a creative place. It's a place that you can't. I mean, my girlfriend moved down here, and she's now in culinary school, becoming a pastry chef, which is just art you eat. So I think it's the sort of place that you just come to and you naturally become creative.
My God!
Like, now I'm not saying I'm a creative person, but I'm more creative than I was when I got here.
Well, I like that you said that you want to be a New Orleans author. What does that mean to you to be a New Orleans author?
It means that maybe people in New Orleans will know me as an author. Maybe I'll get a random high five when I'm walking down the street, but I'm anonymous everywhere else. It's sort of like, I don't want to be famous. I want to be New Orleans famous, though, which is totally different. It's better.
You go to the corner to buy some beignets. It's like, hey, RK Gold? I got it. You want a coffee too?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to. I don't want to be drunk. I want to be New Orleans drunk. I don't want to be stuffed. I want to be New Orleans stuffed. I don't want to have a funeral. I want to have a New Orleans funeral. Well, actually, I want to be a tree. And I don't want to be famous. I want to be New Orleans famous.
Now, I don't know why, but talking about trees, what do you feel about? I'm just gonna take a random hard left. What do you feel about Afterlife and Reincarnation?
Oh God, I hope there is. I hope it's pleasant. I don't know.
Afterlife or Reincarnation?
Both. I don't know. Like, I used to have a deathly fear of death. You know, I would get scared to death thinking of death.
Fuck, I'm here with you. Yeah.
But I mean, I'm doing my best to get over that, and now I'm just gonna say I don't think I'm afraid of death anymore. But I just hope I'm too lazy to do it.
Now, do you think that reincarnation kind of helped with that? Like the kind of like when you started adapting those ideas, because that's what really kind of helped me with it. And I'm at the same plane now, but it's almost kind of weird because when I started this like goal, because I grew up Catholic, and when I started deviating from that type of, you know, conditioning, I guess, when I was like 13, 14, and you start exploring it, you kind of like start getting over it, and, you know, start thinking you're arrogant about it. It's like, oh, you know, that's like a fucking fairy tale that you tell yourself to make yourself feel better, XYZ. And then flash forward to me kind of bring in this reincarnation thing, and it's basically the same. It's the same shit. It's just a fairy tale you tell yourself to make yourself feel better about something.
I mean, what helped me is just the vastness of the universe. I mean, it's that's we're so fucking insignificant that I don't think we got it right when we describe God. So because there's just so much of the universe that's still a complete mystery, and it's ever expanding as well. So that sort of brought me comfort. I mean, we just truly don't know. Literally anything could happen. Like life, the simulation theory could be it true. The what's it called? The theory where it's life is happening, all existence is happening simultaneously. The same way that like we view comic books. So it's all happening simultaneously, but since we're
like
characters,
pages, yeah.
But well, no, it's all happening like on one page simultaneously. But because we're in the story, we perceive it as linear, but it's all happening at the same time. Like that's another one that I've seen. That the British guy who brought Superman over from the UK, he subscribes to that. He also thinks he's a god though, so he's kind of weird. But I don't know. Like when I was talking to Gray
like
about
with
it,
a capital G, he thinks there's a god.
He thinks he's a god.
Oh,
like
cool.
No, like when I was talking to Gray about it, I mean, for all we know, like, and I'm not trying to like make me sound like some either shroom head or person who's out of his mind, because I'm not trying to tell anyone what to actually believe or not.
You're talking
believe.
to the right person. You just lay it out.
But I mean, we know so little that we could literally just be unconscious in a dreamscape reality as our real forms are traveling across a vast distance in the universe, and the only way to make that distance and remain sane is to plug into some kind of simulation. And so like we just don't know. I mean, that could be the case.
That's a good one.
It could all be a game. We could all be NPCs. Like I don't fucking know. I don't believe any of this. Like I like to think that I'm just, in the words of Fight Club, the same decaying piece of organic matter as everyone else, but we just don't know.
Have you ever read The Egg by Andy Weir, I believe?
No.
It's like it's a short story.
Only book I know by him is The Martian.
Yeah, he actually wrote a short story before that. That it's actually funny how little he cares about it, which is crazy, because if I ever met him, I think I'd foam at the mouth, because it's unreal how much like philosophically I like change. Like that was like my philosophical cherry right there. Like when I read that short story when I was a kid, it was like, oh my god. Basically, it's a short story. A person dies, talks to God, and God basically walks him through death, saying that they're basically the same being, and that life and everything that he's going through is just like a trial learning basis in order to get to that, to the state of God. And like
that's my book, Lost in the Clouds.
Hey, and then and it's called The Egg because the universe is literally an egg for God.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I that makes sense to me. I know that like people talk about how the avocado and like the pit of an avocado is almost like a symmetrical existence that can represent the world and the universe and everything else as well. So I can see the egg being yeah, when you cut it open.
Okay.
But as far as my book, Lost in the Clouds, I didn't mean to cut in with that, but it's a similar thing.
No, please do.
The character dies on the first page, and the rest of the book is his journey from death to the afterlife by removing all of his earthly attachments, because you cannot move on to the afterlife if you remain human.
Oh, fuck. Now, that's really awesome, because I really, really talk to people that try to put that much philosophical juice in their books. So how do you deal with kind of trying to shoehorn that while also making the story you know, entertaining, like how you said in the Books by Adrian podcast. Like, you know, I don't give a fuck what genre it is as long as it's pulling me in. You know, so to that aspect, how do you merge those things? And I think it's sometimes you can really, it's a delicate line across where you can talk way too, you know, prose heavy and philosophical and just kind of lose the audience, or you don't explain yourself enough, and then your message is kind of gets riddled within your plot.
Well, I think I failed with that book. I mean, I think that book might be kind of boring, honestly. I try to get better with every book I write. Every book I write then becomes my new favorite book and my best book.
Hell yeah.
So, like with Beds Are for Flowers, which came out after that, it took place in a fictional world that lost color, and it was sort of the opposite. Death no longer existed because the tree of life was blocked, and so people just became old and decrepit and sick, and they just lived this eternal existence in like sickly and old, and eventually they would have to be led around the end to get to paradise. But it was a journey that was worse than death, because if they failed, they just no longer existed. So
dude, what the fuck? I'm gonna buy all your books.
That was actually a kid's book too.
Dude, I'm gonna buy your books. What the fuck? What?
So that
tell me more. Tell me more.
And then Father in the Forest is just sort of like my probably the closest thing I have to a traditional book, which is why I probably sold more than most of my other books. But those two were fun. And I was gonna turn Beds Are for Flowers into a series, and I wrote the first 3 books. I published the first 2, and then I got bored and I moved on.
Oh, well, how do you feel about that? Because I feel the industry is kind of moving into that thing where it's either serializations or die. How do you feel? Are you on the idea of like, nah, fuck that. If I write a good enough standalone, it's gonna go, or are you just eventually kind of, I don't know, just go with the river? I'm more on the former, if I be honest. I really just believe art is art. Whatever, however you want to drop is how it should be.
So I suck at series, and that's why I don't do it. I wish I didn't suck at series. If I was better at them, then I would do it, because there's so much more money in them.
Like, my thing is a series, but I didn't think of it like that. It ended up being like that. It, like, you know, like I said, I didn't get into writing for writing. It was just kind of the thing of that, you know, you draw to draw, and I, you know, started just writing because I got the idea. But
like, I know in my head, the best thing you can do is have 2 10-book series.
What? Oh, because you can have the 10 box
as an indie book author.
The 10 box thing.
No, because you need fewer fans to sustain a lifestyle, but to sustain a full-time living from writing. Every time you publish a new book that's in a different world, you have to win over the same fans that bought your old books. If you are publishing the same world, though, then the people who like the first book are probably going to buy the second book. The people who like the second book are going to create a funnel. I'm not telling people to like create funnel systems. I'm just saying that a series naturally is a funnel. Whereas every time you write a new standalone, you got to win over even your old audience again. So there's a lot more money in a series, because every new, if you indie publish, I'll do the math real quick. If you indie publish a 10-book series on Amazon, and for simplicity's sake, I'll just say that they're all priced the same, just even though normally the first book is free or a reduced amount, but $2.99 times 0.7 times 10, you're looking at almost $21 per fan. Whereas if you're just doing that with one standalone book, you have to win over those same $2 again, and that's only if it's priced at $2.99. I mean, if you double that up to $4.99, you're getting $40 per fan or something like that.
I think that's something what you just did is something that's like kind of lacking in the industry, where. And now,
depends on where you look. If you're looking at 20 books to 50K, that group, they are the most business savvy authors I know.
Awesome. Actually, it's actually funny. You like read my mind basically, because that's exactly what I was gonna say. Most of the time, and it kind of should be, because basically we are artists. We're a creative type of people. For the most part, not all of us have that crazy business mind in us, but it's a thing that is really needed if we're to survive in like the way that the market is changing. I mean, indie means that we're independent. There's nobody representing us. There's nobody doing our shit. We have to really compete with, you know, Penguin. We have to compete with Tor. Like that. It's not just like I think Tyler the Creator, which is a weird quote to bring out, but when he was first coming up, he said that his competition wasn't like the triple XL freshman class of that year. It was Kanye, it was the Drake, it was like, you know, he was aiming for like the bigger things, and that's kind of how you have to think about this industry if you really want that growth. I think anyway. What the fuck do I know? Don't even have my book out yet.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. It depends on what your goals are. Tyler's goals were to compete with them, with those artists. I also think that music is a bit more competitive than books. We have the bestseller lists, but those are so skewed in favor of large publishing houses that game the system by purchasing large quantities of their own books. It's really difficult to do. It's to the point where Mark Dawson, he's a famous indie author. He gamed the system. He bought a lot of his own books, and he got on a traditional bestseller list. He did it by doing it the same way that the large houses do. He got scared for it because people were like, they were illegitimate sales or something. I didn't judge him for it because I just saw him as playing the same game as the large publishing houses, and those are his competitors. He is a publishing entity, not just an author, and so he's competing with, as you said, the large publishing houses. So if he has the funds to play the same game as them and win, he should do that. But so I mean, that's just me going on a quick tangent on why I don't trust bestseller lists.
Oh, that was a great point, honestly.
Thank you. But as
you
far as
changed my opinion on that, like right now, you just did.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. But all I was going to say is that if you want to compete with big name authors, you can, if that's your goal. If your goal is to be a big time New Orleans author, that's a completely different set of goals, and one that you can pursue doing, though. I guess what it comes down to is, if I could change anything in my writing career by going back in time and giving myself a piece of advice, it wouldn't be anything physical or practical. I would have just told myself to be honest with my intentions. Because if I wanted to be famous from the start, I probably wouldn't have started writing as young as I did. I probably would, not as young as I did. When I did, I actually started writing when I was pretty old. For as far as writing is concerned, like I wrote my first novel, which I still haven't done anything with, when I was 22.
Wow. That's when I started. Holy shit, twinsies.
Yeah. So but like if I had gone back and I said I wanted to like be honest with your intentions, I probably would have stuck with things that would have actually gotten me attention faster. Yeah. Because if your goal is to get attention, writing a book isn't the route to go. If your goal is to create a conversation around deep philosophical thoughts, as you're doing through fiction, then writing's a fantastic outlet. But if your goal is to, if you like, for example, if you're writing to gain subscribers on YouTube or to gain followers on Instagram, don't. Just focus on growing Instagram and YouTube.
Without a single doubt.
Yes.
Like I view all those platforms as more kind of like auxiliary things, like, oh, well, I guess if, you know, XYZ, that's like what we're doing now, but writing is what I want to be doing with my days. And it's actually weird what, like, I see a lot of, and again, not bashing, because again, it's kind of like what you said about what was it, Dylan? What was that person that, Mark Dillon? That did the thing against the major traditional...
Oh, Mark Dawson.
Mark Dawson. Apologies. So...
And I have respect for him for doing that. I know it's gaming the system. Me too.
That's the weird thing. It's one of those things that, like, you respect the fuck out of it.
Well, actually, here, I'm gonna clarify.
I don't know if I would do it.
I want to clarify one thing. I don't respect everything about it, because here's the thing I don't respect about that. He sells self-publishing courses on how to be a bestseller.
All right, then nah.
And so he's teaching marketing as well.
Nah.
That's where the line sort of gets blurry, because now he could use the I'm a best-selling author, so buy my course. And that's a little sketchy to me. But it just from an author standpoint, if he was not selling those courses, I would 100% respect him for that.
Yeah, I'm on the same wavelength as you are. I don't know. I guess it's like there's like, are you a movie fan? Are you like do you kind of like follow directors? So
I mean, define follow. I feel like it was. If someone's asking if you follow directors, I feel like the person that's asking the question follows directors a little bit more closely than you. So you definitely follow directors more than me.
Well, like, I guess I kind of fucked up there because I'm just getting to that aspect of it. But like, what I meant more was like, you know, you take your Michael Bay's versus your Tarantino's. There's a there's an obvious different things there. Michael Bay is getting money from the DOD. Oh, you want me to do a little promotion for the little propaganda
for war? Yeah. I got you. Want me to support the war machine? You got it.
And what, you want me to mix that in with like kids robot toys, dude? All day. And then Ninja Turtles, no problem.
Oh, dude, he is an ATM. He's just printing money at this point.
And again, it's one of those things you have to respect. Because it's like, for as much as you hate it, you watch those movies and you're like, fuck, he actually kind of got me for 2.5 hours. I'm actually kind of mildly entertained. Damn.
I haven't watched a Michael Bay movie in ages.
That's the one thing. Like, I almost don't like to admit those to like people that are really like big film buffs, but man, Fast and Furious and the Fast and Furious series.
Oh, I love Fast and Furious. He doesn't direct those, does he?
No.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I feel like they're in the same vein as Michael Bay movies. They're just like outrageous, boom, boom, like explosions that make absolutely no sense. Which is why I actually love in 21 Jump Street when they have that chase scene and like every 3 seconds they think an explosion is about to happen. They're like, oh fuck yeah, nothing's gonna happen. No, it's weird.
I love 22 Jump Street where they like accidentally break everything and he's like, stop breaking things, and then they turn into like the most the most fragile art gallery on campus, and they just keep breaking like the expensive computer labs. Like they went out of their way to like run up how much money they would have to owe because they were just breaking all the most expensive shit.
Oh my god, that is so funny. I don't know why, but I just got this random thought. Did your love of literature and reading come before, like, what came first, like the love of movies and TV, or reading and literature?
Oh, movies and TV. I wasn't that into writing and reading until my early 20s and mid 20s, even after that. Like I didn't like reading that much at all, and I started reading for fun regularly when I was 22, which is when I started writing. I was not a big reader growing up at all. Now I read constantly. Now I'm like this year, I think I'm getting like a book and a half a week done for reading. Like I'm never without a book. It's also almost all nonfiction this year, so I'm on a bit of a different kick. But when I was growing up, I hated reading. You couldn't pay me to read. I just thought it was the most boring thing in the world. So I would just rot my brain in front of the television.
And when do you think it kind of started?
And that was a joke. Anyone listening, I love television still.
Yeah, of course it was a joke. I mean, if you listen to this podcast, fuck, I am glued to my goddamn TV. If it's not writing, I'm fucking watching TV.
Oh, it's on right now. It's not playing anything, but it's just on. I see it as like a source of, it's like a fireplace. Like it's just like a source of comfort in the room.
Man, you're not like. What do you think is? Do you have anything that you would almost say that's like homey, that you just put it on and you just feel all right? I don't know why.
It used to be The Office.
I had the same feeling, but then you watch it too many times, right?
Nope.
Oh, that's my thing. I feel like I watched it too many times. It got to the point that it was like, I knew all the little nuances in it, and I was like, all right, I can't enjoy it as much anymore.
It's off Netflix now too, so I definitely don't watch it too much.
But it's on Peacock for free.
Only like the first season or something like that. I don't get Peacock on my TV.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have. I don't have an Apple TV or an Amazon Fire Stick. I just have a smart TV, and so for some reason the app doesn't show up on it.
Oh man,
so it's rude. I guess as far as like comfort shows are concerned, I don't really have any anymore. It used to be The Office and Parks and Rec.
That's a good one. I don't know why I watched. Well, I know why it's a great movie. I watched Dazed and Confused 2 weeks ago.
My second favorite movie of all time.
Jesus, what is with that movie? Like the moment I put it on, I had the goofiest smile on my face and did not come off until the end.
Good fucking movie. It's just a good fucking movie, man.
And I've never experienced any society like that. Like I've never grew up in anything reminiscent to how they grew up. But you love that shit, and like, can you give me an explanation? What is it about that story, about that movie that just reels it in that much? Especially growing up now in like the PC culture, basically everything they do in that movie is anti-PC. I mean, Jesus, you have, McConaughey's basic line is basically about pedophilia. You know, they get older and I stay the same age. It's like, okay, creeper.
Yeah,
no, they get younger and I stay the same age. Yeah.
No, he gets older.
He gets older the same age. Yeah. Whatever.
That's what I like about these high school girls. I get older, they stay the same age. All right. Yeah, that's McConaughey. as far as, I mean, why do you like that movie? As far as me and why it's comforting, I don't know. Maybe I just like the idea of, and for one, it's just nostalgia. There's an innocence about childhood. There's an excitement about experiencing new things, and it's just one of those movies that, going back to what you're talking about with the egg and things coming full circle, and all things being contained. I mean, we really were just, there's something beautiful about seeing the start and the end simultaneously. We were seeing the end for Randall Pink Floyd, and we were seeing the start for Mitch Kramer, and then we also saw it on the girls' side too. On the girls' side too. So it's there's just something beautiful about those parallel stories, like simultaneously running side by side, and one being the end of life as a person knows it, and one being the excitement for the exact same experience that the other character is finishing.
Oh my God. It's crazy how I had an answer and your answer just like
you're just good at making me feel 45. special. That's why you're gonna be a really successful podcast host, because you do a really good job making your guests feel special.
Well, I don't know. It's weird. I just got awkward with that. I was like, oh my God, I just got a compliment. I just want to get into a turtle showdown. I was like, oh Jesus. But
good. Do it. Maybe Master Splinter will find you and turn you into a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Oh. Wait, is that a joke because you name, dude, you've said a couple things that like I don't know how you know. Because my middle name is Raphael.
Sweet.
And the whole thing about did I mention the whole thing about okay, never mind. I was about to say.
You haven't mentioned shit. I still don't even know your name.
Oh, good. Oh, thank God.
I now know your middle name. I don't know your name.
It's weird how comforting that is. No, what it is that like
okay, Rafi.
Okay, now. Fucking when that movie really you I mean, it's unreal. You actually just brought me back to what that movie represented to me. What it was is that like it really was an existential thing. You had the main character who has all his friends around him, and they generally care about him too. It's not like, I mean, his friends are obviously like hounds and everything, trying to get pussy and shit, but they're good friends around him. And constantly they have the pressure of almost like, hey man, just sign the paper, which is like,
he's kind of a loser too. I mean, he's like, the point of the movie is this kid would rather smoke weed and see Aerosmith than win a state championship. Like that's the it's
or give a fuck about
a feel good sports movie.
Yeah, and like what it was is that it feels so real about it. Like there's no like I really don't like the Cheech and Chong type of stoner representation in movies. Know what I mean? Like to me, that movie was a great representation of what stone. Like I don't think in any other movie I've ever seen stoners when they're rolling up that they actually have like speckles of weed on their fingers. I'm like, yes, that's what happens when you roll up weed. It's like, yeah, shit, and it gets all over your fingers. I don't think I've ever seen any other movie that actually does that. Or
also, everyone was a stoner in that movie except for Ben Affleck. So like you had.
Oh, that is true. He actually didn't smoke. He was just a drinker.
Yeah, he was just a beer drinker.
Yeah.
Him and the redhead guy, but everyone else smoker. So you got the cool kids smoking. You got the high school. You got the football players in Texas, which like they're basically celebrities. The fact that the grandpa is like, if you got a good team, 13 Letterman coming back, something like that.
You got a good arm. Yeah, like
you got it. Yeah. So it's like these guys, they're celebrities in their hometown. So you got the cool kids smoking weed. You got the nerds smoking weed. You got the burnout smoking weed. You got like everyone smokes weed. So I think they do a good job of representing weed smokers because everyone poops and everyone smokes weed.
And to bring it like full circle with the whole thing that you said about the parallel stories is, to me, I really love when a movie has that one paragraph in it that opens up like, hours of discourse. Like, in the Matrix 2, when he talks to the architect and that little conversation like that, it just blows your mind. They have a little conversation in Dazed and Confused at the end. It's the redhead girl after she just got hit on by like the football players, and they're driving around, they're like smoking and drinking and whatnot. And she's talking about how she's like, she's felt like all this pressure in her adolescent life to always be thinking like in the future, always be working out the forward, and everything that you do in the present is like just
a minor inconvenience.
Yeah, a minor convenience on the way to something that is like going up. And she was just like sitting back, like, fuck, like when can I sit back and think of the present, Like it's, you know, exactly how you said, like a minor inconvenience. Like when can
Well, that's what they say in the movie. I'm not gonna take credit for the movie, but yeah, that's exactly it. Because they're like those three people in the car. I'm totally blanking on names. It's the kid with the glasses, the guy who wants to be an ACLU lawyer, and then the redhead girl.
Yeah,
they're all talking about their future, and they're all like the overachievers who also smoke weed, because everyone smokes weed, and they're the ones that like did everything right in high school, and they're just as lost as everyone else.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my, you hit it on the nail. It's like, it's what that movie is, and then you have all that intercut with a freshman just getting into it. You know, he's taking his beatings. I mean, to degrees that, like, you talk about bullying, we have no idea compared to what that movie was. I mean, these kids were getting riled, and then
they had a pretty clear rite of passage, and it was also pretty simple because, like, you know, when someone has gone through it.
Exactly, and like, I guess that's the thing that you are reminiscent of. Like, I also love the scene when they invite the girl after hazing her, and they don't give her a number. They don't tell her, oh, meet us at this time. They just say, oh yeah, we're gonna pick you up at 7:30, and then it cuts to her waiting outside her house at like 7:25, waiting. Like, that's how people did shit. It wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm gonna meet you at 8:45, and then your friend ends up being half hour late, and he's texting you, oh, hit traffic, lol. None of that. If you said 8 o'clock and you weren't there by 8 o'clock, your friend died. That's what happened. They got killed.
Nah, I mean, let's not over exaggerate. People were still late before there was text messaging. I don't think that's like unique to our generation.
No, they died.
But no, it's a beautiful movie. Like, as I said, it's number 2 on my all-time favorites. I'll just tell you my number 1 right now is Stand By Me.
Oh my God, you're singing my song.
Yeah, number 3 is Little Miss Sunshine.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh,
that is with Steve Carell and
Steve Carell's in it. Paul Dano's in it.
Who's the girl, Dakota? No, it's the girl from Kick-Ass. No, not her.
No. The girl who's in it is what's her? I'm totally
from Zombieland.
No, she's I think she's like a singer now. I'm blanking on her name right now.
Singer.
But yeah, I'm looking it up right now. I'm not too. I mean, it's a big name cast. Like, I know Alan Arkin is the grandpa, and he's hilarious, and Toni Collette is the mom. But the girl is Abigail Breslin. What does she do? Oh yeah, Zombieland. You're right. She's the younger sister in Zombieland. I don't know why I said no. You were absolutely right. I was wrong.
Okay. Okay. Oh my God, I'm gonna get me too for that one now.
Yeah, why'd you have to do the triple K? You just gotta add one more K, man. Is it that difficult?
Or drop one. Fuck. That's it.
Damn. Oh yeah. She's Lil Rock in Zombieland. Yeah, I love Zombieland.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
It's a good one.
How do you feel about 2?
I love Zombieland too.
Yeah. Zombieland, the whole Bill Murray scene. There is something I love about when they actually have whoever the actor is actually plays himself. I've only seen that, I think, in Zombieland, and I think one other movie. This just brought me back. What about Clerks? Is Clerks anywhere in your top 10 or anything like that?
I mean, I love Clerks, and I love Kevin Smith. I haven't really thought out my list beyond like top 5. And Clerks isn't in that. Honestly, I'm trying to think if Clerks is even my favorite Kevin Smith movie, or if it might be like, I love Clerks, but Chasing Amy. Chasing Amy is good.
No, that's a powerhouse. I feel like every guy should watch that movie. Honestly, that's like.
I mean, honestly, not to sound pathetic, but I love Mallrats.
Why pathetic? That's a great movie.
Yeah,
I just saw it for the first time a couple days ago.
Like, I love Mallrats. So
Justin Long is a great. I just love him. Like, him and Dogma was great too. Dogma's easily like probably top 3 Kevin Smith movies.
Long? No, he's not in Mallrats. It's
Justin Long. Yeah, he is. He's the one that gets broken up with the girl that I would say is the hotter girlfriend.
I thought that was Jason Lee.
Okay, Justin Long is from
Accepted, Waiting.
Accepted, Waiting. You are right, man. That's another.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I mean, it's the same. They're both JL.
Yeah. Justice League of America, but.
You okay, buddy? Sorry, I keep looking over my shoulder. My dog is like,
go ahead.
He's like freaking out. He's you okay, buddy? Here, I'm gonna be right back. Are you able to like cut out
pause it? No,
silences?
Yeah, I got you. Okay, and we are back. we were just talking about dogs. Fucking love dogs.
Yeah, we were talking about top movies. We were talking about Kevin Smith movies.
Yes. Now, that's a really good one because it kind of goes into Kevin Smith is up there with like what I would consider indie directors, and to call him indie really isn't fair, but I would consider them indie, I guess, compared to Michael Bay. So Tarantino, Favreau, and Favreau obviously is not a great example because he handles fucking everything with Marvel.
I was gonna say, you're gonna call the guy who runs one of Disney's most profitable branches indie? Like, yeah, guy's gonna be a billionaire one day.
Easily, which again, like to me, he's like the golden star because to me, he started as indie. Like, you know, you have.
But you know what? Yeah, I was gonna say my favorite movie by him is an indie movie.
Yeah.
Now Chef.
Oh, fucking knockout movie.
Love that movie. Fucking love that movie.
I think that might be RDJ's best little cameo in any movie ever.
Also, anytime that you put Sofia Vergara in a movie, like, it's a win for me.
Her in Modern Family is just, oh my god.
Dude, I saw like super young her in Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah,
she was in it for like 2 seconds. Stunning. Stunning.
Her at 19 like isn't fair. Like, that's the type of thing you see and you're like, what the fuck? They make that? They come in that model? What the fuck?
I mean, I honestly, I think she's hotter now.
Like fine wine, man. Honestly.
I talk about this on our podcast on Your Morning Guru somewhere regularly, so our listeners know this. Like, I don't want to dive into the psychology behind it, but for me, women are the most attractive between the ages of 35 and 51, and you get me like a 42-year-old mom, or in her case, a 48-year-old mom. Like, I don't think there's MILFs are better than all. Like, I don't know why people would ever go after. I don't get the obsession with the young 20s or like the guys who joke about wanting a 19-year-old. Like, I don't get it. I think that the hottest women are in their 40s.
I really might have to go down New Orleans and grab a few beers with you, man. I am so on your fucking wavelength.
Yeah.
I joke about it with my friends all the time. Like, especially when you, like, you know, definitely during all those like Epstein things, it's like, dude, like, how does your head even go that far? Isn't like the whole point of like attraction, the person's also attracted to you and you can have like a cool conversation and things like that? Like, how are you going to feel that way? You're 40 and you're talking to a 19-year-old. Where's the like, what are you going to do? What are you going to
I'm not even talking about conversation or connection. I'm just talking strictly appearance, strictly like,
oh, that too.
Like pure sexiness, pure like wank behavior. Yeah, I said that. That's gonna get this video struck or something.
Wank behavior. Okay.
Yeah, like just pure sexual attractiveness. Take all personalities out of it, and still women in their 40s.
I mean, you ain't fucking lying. Like,
I'm not lying. No, I know. It's like,
you are not lying.
Like, I'll take a 45-year-old any day. Like, so, and you know what? So I will say this. You know, there will come a time when I'll be attracted to the younger women where it's like, hopefully I'm 90 and I'm dating a 45-year-old. Like, I would love that. Because
it's not about, you know, 50 year difference. Jesus.
No, I know that sounds creepy, and you know what? I get it, but I'll also be basically. I've always been attracted to that age range. I don't see that going away. I hope I live to be 170 and I'm still dating that age range. Like,
all right, then we can definitely like go half-seas on the therapy session or whatever, because I'm not
going to therapy for that, because I don't really want to know why. Yeah, like, why? I don't care. Yeah. I don't care. I just know what I like.
Oh my god. Well, at least it's like actually definitive, right? My god, I'm loving this conversation. Now, there's one thing.
Conversation's loving you.
Oh. Now, there is one thing I wanted to kind of focus on. You were talking about that you just sent off a new book to an editor, or was it a publisher?
No, it's an editor. I have an editor.
Right?
Yeah, her name's Montgomery. She's fantastic. If you ever want a development editor, I'll send her your way, or you her way. I'll connect you to. that's a good word. Yeah, no, I sent it off to her. It's basically working title right now is Friends You Cannot Keep. It's about this. I guess the best way.
Good titles, man.
Thank you.
Your ideas. Like honestly, I'm blown away that you're way more famous. Everything you've said so far is like groundbreaking.
Fuck off with that shit. I'm not famous. I don't deserve it. I don't write good books. I mean, I really don't want to be anymore. My goal in life right now is to have. I jokingly say New Orleans famous. I wouldn't mind that just because then I could get free drinks all over the city. But that's about the extent of what my
in New Orleans you'd be a drunk.
goals are. I'd rather smoke weed than drink, but I mean, you can't go anywhere down here without drinking. Like.
How is it with recreational over there? Like, is it like, because Boston's cool as fuck, you can do whatever the fuck you want around here.
It's decriminalized in the city, but it's not legal.
So you can still harassed by the police and shit.
Yeah, but as far as like drinking is concerned, that's no holds bar down here. Like people, I mean, we get to-go cups in restaurants. Like
yeah, my ex moved down to New Orleans.
Yeah, so we have drive-through daiquiri places. Like that's what.
Fuck yeah.
That's New Orleans. So I like that it's only a matter of time that we get. Like, if we're this liberal with alcohol, why are we just medical marijuana in Louisiana?
Boston has drive-through like convenience stores that you can get like Dutchess at and blunts and J papers and bongs and whatever the fuck you want.
That's beautiful. Sounds expensive, but beautiful.
No, it's actually cheap as shit. And just to show you,
bong is cheap as shit.
It's gas station quality. You know, you're not getting fucking glass made by Stitch or whatever that fucking guy's name is, but like, you know, you're getting a little thing that's gonna last you for as long as you can not break it in your car for. But it's just to show you how sketchy it is. You can also get $5 pizzas there.
I mean, that just makes business sense to me. If you're saying the people who are buying gas station bongs are also going to get munchy for gas station pizza. Like that's just
what I'm saying. That's what you can get anything there. You could like, it was like, oh yeah, let me get 2 Arizonas, a pizza, and a pack of Dutch Masters. That's all possible on a drive-through as somebody's rolling up in the back. I mean,
it's like Mickey Weeds.
Yeah, I'll tell you. You just pop in. Do you think, how much of that do you lend to your writing? That whole like
weed?
Well, like not only that, but I guess
zero.
You don't lend like because I know Adrian loves kind of like incorporating that kind of like the whole drug culture into his stories. I do it a little more subtly, but you have no hints of it at all. Well, I like the thing that you do with children's stories.
I mean, I was joking at the beginning when I said the kids grow up and become stoners.
Well,
I mostly talk about that with colors because, like, you know, I get high and I see colors. So maybe my hints to drugs is I do like to like make the colors pop if I can. Like colors usually play an important role in my stories. That's why in Beds Are for Flowers they exist in a world without color, because it's like colors amplify and dull emotions. You can do so much with them. So I don't know, maybe I write books because I can't paint, but as far as as far as like drugs in my books are concerned,
paint is easy as shit.
I don't think
put down some paint.
Fair. But I don't think I'm talented enough to incorporate drugs. Like I think I'm barely talented enough to incorporate a story. So
oh, shut up. I mean, like that's just like like I mean, I don't know, like what you said about that, like that every book you put out is your favorite. I mean, that's why you write, isn't it? That's why I love writing. It's why I love comedy like vicariously. Like I don't think I ever want to be a comedian, but I love the comedy industry just because it seems like it's limitless. You can gut out, like you have people like Bill Burr, like Dave Chappelle that killed it when they were like 15. Like they seem like they had their act down at a young age, but still at 50 they're like still finding new ways to fuck with your mind and like just like hone their craft. I fucking love it. It's why writing to me is so fucking awesome, because like you can always hone your craft. To me,
and then you have Louis C.K. like, look at my dick.
That's heartbreaking, because like Louis C.K. was really up there, and then that happens, and it's just like, oh man. And the thing is,
shit has gone on Omegle with a mask on.
Damn, man, it hurts your feelings. Like he was such a big deal to me. I remember I was doing a co-op in Boston like my junior year, and there was a tweet that he bought out a random little club in downtown, and he was giving away like $10 or $15 tickets, first come first serve. I dropped everything I did at that moment, like left work to go and try to get tickets. By the time I got the Uber there, like I literally didn't get off the Uber. I just went back to work. The line was like wrapped around the building. It was they're already cutting people off.
So he's not hurting.
That was then. That was before the fucking, you know, that was before the whole hey, you mind if I jerk off? Oh, I bet you're just joking, Louis C.K. I'm not.
Yeah, nice helicopter effect.
Yeah. What's funny too is that his story seemed like one of his like bits. Like I feel like he even had a joke about that in the special that he did the year before. That was like a thing that he just like likes to do. I don't know. That whole thing is just like is a motherfucker. But the point that I was making is that what I think is really the backbone of writing is like kind of like that cool overarching idea, and like everything you said so far of your plots are fucking insane, like insane.
Thank you.
Like fuck, I've never, like, I watch a lot of shit. I've never heard of like what you said about that, like all ideas are completely like not your own. I don't know. I feel like you've given me at least 4 that I have never heard in my life, and I really try to read a couple.
Well, Lost in the Clouds was inspired after I read the Gita, the Bhagavad. I'm gonna butcher that name right now, but the Gita.
Yeah,
and I also incorporated like what I loosely understood about chakras into that. And then what's it called? Beds Are for Flowers. Yeah, you're right. That one was just weird. I'm trying to remember what my inspirations were for that one.
But what is weird? That's such like perspective based. I mean, like, to me, that's fucking awesome. If you told my sister, yeah, she'd probably think it's weird and call you a few different things. But like, that's right up my alley. Like, that's
older or younger sister.
Yeah, older. I'm the baby of the group.
Okay, then it hurts, because I was gonna say if she's younger, then she's not gonna be the age range for the book anyway. Even though I write kids books.
No. She got 10 years on me. My brother's got 20, so it not really like hurt.
You're a mega baby.
Oh yeah. That's why I'm not really hurt that they like aren't like into my genre. It's like, yeah, I get it. Different things, different strokes. Now I think I cut you off while you were talking about the book and like how like your process of that going. I think you were going about
the book, Friends You Cannot Keep.
Yes.
I mean, it takes place in New Orleans. Thank you very much. It's about a man who's homeless by choice, who just doesn't associate with people at all. He prefers animals.
What is that, man on your own way or whatever the fuck? Isn't that like the philosophy?
I don't fucking know. I just know that he likes animals and he takes care of them, and he's sort of like Pigeon Man from Hey Arnold, and old college friend.
Or Home Alone 2, the pigeon lady.
Yeah, that too. Old college friend crosses paths with him and turns him into a self-help guru. And basically the whole premise is he wants to prove to the world that that he's such a master at business that he can make a homeless man be the ultimate businessman. And then he's going to use that to sell more courses and to sell more products to people. And my main character doesn't mind being used because it gives him an opportunity to save up enough money to buy his own sanctuary, because his rooftop sanctuary got trashed by a bunch of kids and he needs to start over.
Fuck, man. I mean, like, these are awesome ideas.
Well, that was basically trading places, but instead of finance, it's the self-help guru world. And instead of Eddie Murphy, it's the Pigeon Man. So...
I mean, again, though, it's just like I love hearing like nuanced ideas, or like at least things that, I mean, how many, and there's nothing wrong with it, of course, but how many magical dinosaur dragon like token derivatives do we see a year, or how many? And again, it's killing, so I obviously cannot knock it at all. But romance, you know, how many times are we gonna have like this like alpha character, and then like the girl is in between 3 different guys, and there's like, you know, hot, cold, and mild, and she has to choose in between. I mean, like, it's like things that we just keep on seeing again.
Well, let's see. Latest report from Bauer, and this is 2019, so the numbers have only gone up. But 3 years ago, 2,700 books were published a day, and I think it's a safe assumption that 3 years later, with indie publishing growing as much as it has, that number has gone up. So if it was 2,700 books a day 3 years ago, I have no idea what it is today, but it's a lot. So how many Tolkien derivatives and erotica titles are there?
Oh my
more than I could count.
Limitless. It's unreal.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying, like, I think in this market, and again, it's not a necessity by any doubt, because what you said, I think, is really true. No matter what your ideas or anything like that, your writing voice is the thing that separates your writing and your work from anybody else. And if you have, like, I guess, like that tailbone of writing, you can write whatever the fuck you want. There's nothing that you're limited to. You can make a boring story entertaining. You can make a entertaining story even more so, right? But with just, like, I guess the only word to describe would be oversaturation of the market. I think ideas like yours are like what really is going to crack. And if it hasn't already, I mean, like, I really hope it does, because yeah, what does it speak for the future if it doesn't? I think that's kind of scary if I think really if really nuanced authors that are just like a really fresh voices aren't heard. I guess that's kind of discouraging, no?
I mean, I think that fresh voices are being heard. Just because I'm not being heard doesn't mean fresh voices aren't. And probably more deserving ones are as well. Like N.K. Jemisin is fucking killing it in fantasy. And obviously Angie Thomas was a huge breakthrough for fiction as well. And The Hate You Give's run on the bestseller list is unprecedented. So I think I do think that new voices are breaking through in the industry, and we are seeing a shift. My only concern is how many people are going to follow, and it's not at any fault of the author. It's entirely the fault of the big 5 publishing houses now becoming the big 4. In a few years, it's going to be the big 3. Eventually, it's going to be Amazon versus one publishing house. And what chance do we have of anyone breaking through with a new voice in the traditional publishing scene? Because I don't think it has to do with the consumers nearly as much as we put the blame on them. I think it's entirely on the publishing houses' shoulders to break through new voices. And they're scared to do it because they're scared to sacrifice. They're scared to take on that risk of potentially having the next home run. And so they'd rather settle for books that they assume are going to sell to already established audiences. So that it, like anything to do with art, ultimately goes back to business, because we live in a business-driven country, and we happen to be, because I don't know why, and it fucking sucks, but America is probably like the entertainment center of the world. So our publishing is also the publishing center of the world. Our movies are the movie centers of the world. Our music is the music center of the world. So I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent right here, which has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But first off, if you want to look for new voices, don't have such an American-centric view on the entertainment that you're consuming. You brought up Parasite earlier in this conversation. Fucking beautiful movie from Korea. So there's plenty of unique voices out there in other countries. So if you want something new, look there. And then secondly, if you do want something new too, probably go indie as well. So in that regard, I will put the burden on the consumer. But ultimately, it does take effort to go out of your way and look for things. And so we do want things that we want something new, but we also want something convenient. And that's where we rely on the publishing houses that are marketing books that we see every time we go on Amazon. They're the ones that are spending the ads on it. And they become the most convenient things to buy. And that's why the same voices are going to be represented again and again and again and again. I guess, what hope does this industry have? More indie successes, I guess. But I mean, again, I don't even want to come in with a defeatist attitude, because I also started this with a sense of optimism of we are seeing successes and new voices emerging. So I don't exactly know the point I'm trying to make right now. I'm just trying to make one.
No, I think you really hit the nail on the head with a couple different points that you made. I mean, I think one of the biggest things about kind of understanding the industry is understanding that, like, the huge overarching nemesis that you thought was like the evil thing isn't really that evil. Like, traditional publishing houses, the reason why they're so selective in XYZ is because
money.
Exactly. I don't think people really sit back and realize that even people that get published and picked up and get the full run, not all of them are making their money back. Not all of them are recouping the ROI that the publishing house just did.
Most aren't.
Yeah, most of them are, and and I think and again, it's really weird to get percentages off the internet and actually take them as credible, because who knows. But I think it was something like 75% of publishing houses, like of books published by publishing houses, don't make the return on investment, and they make the lion's head of their money off that 25% that does. So just the risk in that is just you know, if model a business like that, and obviously we can't say that they're hurting because we're talking about $1 billion corporations here, but for the most part, it's still one of those things that you can't really be too mad about. I mean, fuck.
That's why they only offer contracts to people that are currently already famous. Not only, but so I always had an issue with gatekeepers in the industry.
Yeah, same.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but as far as my point that I'm going to make here is the mistake I see with authors is I'll see authors celebrate getting an agent more than I'll see them celebrating getting a book deal.
Oh my God, preach. Oh my God. Yes.
I don't like what are the ends that you're fighting for? Is it the legitimacy to brag to your friends? Because yes, then getting an agent is going to be more impressive than publishing a book. If it's publishing a book and finding an audience, then skip the agent, skip trying to get into a publishing house because they're going to make you do most of the marketing anyway. You just publish your book on Amazon and get 70% of your royalties. Now, Amazon fucking sucks too because that's a monopoly trying to take over the world, but at least it's a monopoly that's going to pay you 70%. As far as the publishing houses are concerned too, getting an agent and getting a book deal, it's far more competitive now because there's fewer presses to submit your work to, at least
and
once
way higher volume of people submitting.
Exactly. And because it's ultra competitive, with, as you mentioned before, I don't know the exact statistics, but very little return on investment. They're going after people that already have established audiences that aren't just authors. So they're going after politicians. They're going after YouTube stars. I mean, if you want to get published traditionally, the best thing you can do with your time is grow a YouTube channel or an Instagram.
You're not lying. And then you can become indie and become an indie author, successful, and then somehow become famous from writing and making videos about how to write a query letter. I don't know.
Well, that's something music has done well. That's actually something that music has done really well. The indie music scene is something that fans of indie music cultivate indie music. They celebrate the fact that the music they're listening to is independent. It's something that you don't see with the readers in books. They don't celebrate the fact that the books they're reading is independent. There's a certain pride in music in discovering someone before they make it big. Whereas books, if you go independent, it means you just didn't make it. And it's a little perverted in a way that we celebrate independent in movies and in music, but we see it as a source of failure in publishing. I think as writing shifts more towards the indie music scene, we're going to see some more indie music breakout style authors generating these massive paydays from an incredibly loyal cult-like fan base. And what we're going to see with that is when they go to the table to negotiate contracts with big publishing companies, they're going to have bargaining power. And that's how a real sense of power. So if you do want to go the independent route and you don't want to go about the route from YouTube and Instagram, you can do it by indie publishing and developing that core set of fans, because all a publishing house cares about is making money. And if you're proving that you're a viable product or creating a viable product with a fan base that's going to buy everything that you're selling, you can go meet them with the bargaining power and they'll buy the rights to your work from you. Now, the thing is, if you
but never give away full rights, just distribution rights. Just to be clear.
Well, I was going to say the thing is, in the documentary Naughty Books, which talks about erotica, it's wild to hear how one of the women in the movie did sell her distribution rights to a traditional publisher, to one of the big five at the time, for mass market, and she did not make nearly as much money as she did independent.
I've read a lot of stories like that. That very famous traditional publisher, writers and authors are just turning to independent because that's where the true money is. Again, it's the reason I brought up the whole thing with the publishing house. How are they gonna you have your background in economics, I dabble a little bit in there, try to, a monkey on a keyboard basically, but just, you understand how this shit goes. How the fuck are they gonna fork you a slice of the pie if they have to recoup losses that you're not even included in? Like, your book does well, but they have to recoup losses from the 25 bozos before. It's not even bozos. They could have been great books, but just weren't received well by their audiences or weren't marketed right, or myriad of different reasons and explanations for why it didn't sell the way that it was projected to. And I don't know. I guess it's one of those things that I really think is a more philosophical thing. The way that you kind of talked about in the beginning, what are you doing for a writer? To bring it up, the first question you asked, it's what are you doing this for?
Be honest with your intentions. That's the most important thing. If you want to be famous, that's not bad, but maybe don't be a writer first. Maybe focus on something that will get you famous faster, and then you can become a writer later on. But if you want to be a writer, be honest with your intentions.
Yes, and to bring in what I was talking about before about like the whole like competition thing is, I think about it more of not really a competition, but you know what you're against, so you have to come up to the plate. The thing that you see with indies is that you open up the book and it's just not in the same format. It doesn't have the same typesetting. I mean, typesetting, that's a word I found out 3 days ago. The fuck was that? Typesetting. But now it's a thing you have to worry about, because in order for us to have that music breakthrough, as you said, is you have to come up to the plate. The reason why those indie musicians come out is because you have people like Frank Ocean, Orange album. He makes one album, and 5 years later, people are still begging, like foaming at the mouth, to hear more, because he did in his, in an indie setup what people with full record companies could not. He inspired emotion. It's actually one of my favorite things. There's a show called Vinyl. I think it's on Showtime or HBO. I can't remember it. And it talks about the rise of punk music. Actually, it's a brilliant show, and the reason I love it so much is because it's kind of in a marketing scheme. The very first episode is one of my favorite quotes. The guy is an A&R professional, and he's talking about the reason why music is successful, the reason why punk rose in the era that I was in, is because you're selling an emotion. It's not the tune, it's not the anything. It's like you're selling an emotion. When people listen to punk, they were ready to fucking riot. Why? Because like you were giving people an emotion. That's all people want. They want to feel something.
That's beautiful. And I am so happy you took it in this direction, because I didn't mean to cut you off, but you want to go on a massive tangent?
Fuck yeah. What?
Okay. We no longer exist in a culture where art represents counterculture.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
Okay. Music is culture. Music is mainstream. Counterculture music is still mainstream. I remember when hip hop was counterculture. Now hip hop is culture defining. Hip hop is the #1 trend on TikTok. You can't tell me it's counterculture anymore. You know what counterculture is now? You know what the you know what the most punk rock thing is now? Crypto. Crypto and investments. We live in a world where counterculture is finance. You know what the most punk rock thing of 2021 is? Robinhood investors taking down a hedge fund. Name something more punk rock than making a hedge fund go bankrupt. That is Sex Pistols. That is Ramones. That is punk music. We are living in an era where punk music is finance.
Oh my God. And you know what? It's my favorite thing to talk about too, because like, especially I'd love to talk about with a person that actually does economics. I mean, when you break down the structure of what money is, this is all a fucking Ponzi scheme. Like, we're playing the biggest game of Monopoly you've ever seen in your entire life. It's just like this entire thing, and I think that's why it's like why it kind of heralds the whole punk culture thing, is because it's finally like the Matrix. It's like standing up. It's like, no, fuck these guys. We can also do this shit. It's just a numbers game. We can also fuck around. You know,
you can you can. I mean, you can lose also, and you can lose big. So I don't recommend anyone actually does that, but I just think it's a beautiful battle on a field that they actually care about. So as far as the future of finance, it's a completely different conversation. I'm very intrigued by crypto just because I like the idea of decentralizing currency and decentralizing finance. I think that removing the inefficiencies will remove access to our livelihood from forces that are profiting off of it just by owning the territory that money passes through. I mean, currently, if you just want to transfer money that you own to someone else, and this is talking about some of the most vulnerable people on the planet, people who are sending money back, immigrants who are sending money back home to their family.
That's a 30% markup right there.
It's worse, dude. If they're sending $20 home through wire transfer, it's going to take like 5 days to get home, and they're going to lose $10 in the transfer.
Yeah.
Crypto, they lose, I think, 1/1000 of a cent, and it's instant.
Yeah, it is just crazy how everything going. It's not, and even just the chain from paper money to digital money. PayPal is insane, especially just starting the whole small business aspect. It is unreal how different it is that literally there's just a thing there. At any moment, it can just most of my commissions or most of the people that I like paying or for the things that we do for the company aren't anywhere even on the Western Hemisphere. I'm paying people from India, from Brazil, China, and these translations are happening instantaneously. That was, if I were to do that 200 years ago, that would have been a whole war. A whole war I would have had to fight for and die for, and I would have had to lost kids. Like that would have been a whole
But
thing.
at least you would have had a book.
But at least I would have had a book. Hey, it would have been worth it at the end. Fuck. And what's even weird? Another weird tangent, but like, I'm still on like the first question that you asked is like, what do you do it? I mean, like, really, isn't just isn't just like the love of creation to be able to like how happy when you made your first book and you got your proof and you were to be able to hold that proof in your hand. What was that elation like? I asked genuinely. It's not like a rhetorical like because I'm not at that level yet. I can only imagine the little girl I'm gonna become when I actually hold something that I've been like incepting for so long. What was that feeling like?
Um, I don't know. I don't really remember it too much. I think I'm a pretty bad author where I don't necessarily get. Maybe I haven't actually written anything worth writing. I don't get the excitement from just hitting publish and holding my book and seeing it anymore. And I don't think I ever did. So maybe I'm not even an author. I don't know. For me, yeah, it's weird. I think one of my benefits is once I started working with like the right editors, I don't really have that much of an emotional attachment to my work. Now I know that also sounds bad, and maybe it's why my books suck, but it makes editing easy because when someone tells me to cut something, I cut it. When someone tells me this isn't working, it's not working. So, but it's not just with writing either. I've noticed that was just about anything I create. With a podcast, if someone tells me to take something out, I do it. With articles that I've written for work, if someone tells me to do that, I do it. Not entirely sure where that comes from. I think it's more along the lines of just pursuing the path of least resistance with all things in life, which is a beautiful existence. But I don't really remember what it was like to have the first book I held in my hands, and maybe I didn't give it the respect it deserved, or maybe it just didn't hit me as it should have, or maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll get there one day when I put something out there that like I'm truly proud of instead of just. I don't fucking know. I'm reading a lot of marketing books right now, and Seth Godin talks about how the opposite of great is very good, and that sort of is resonating with me, because he says that like essentially if you're trying to be great, you're either going to succeed or fail. It's a bit of a binary. But if you're just average to very good, you're not actually going to have any staying power. You're going to have some people who don't mind it, and that's like the worst thing that can happen to you when you're creating something. And I think maybe my career has been a bunch of averages to very goods, and maybe I'm giving myself too credit there, but I don't think I've succeeded or failed yet.
That's interesting. Now, as far as what do you think you have succeeded in, and what do you think are things that you need to improve on?
I think I succeeded in just doing it. So
fucking preach. That really is half the battle.
Yeah, so I think I succeeded in that. Where have I failed? I mean, I could always edit more. Like I mean, I think one thing I've been doing really well this past year, and I was 2020, is I've been reading a lot of writing craft books. I've been actually studying it a bit more. So I think I'm actually getting a lot better at just like making a story fit a basic story structure without actively thinking about it. I just sort of understand that something has to go here. This character feels flat and they need to be fleshed out a little bit. Maybe they need a backstory. Maybe they need a want. Understanding that every character I'm introducing needs a want and it needs to have a want and a need. Understanding, I don't know, where the break into Act 2 needs to come in and what that needs to feel like. Feeling the dynamics of having an action, a reaction, and just a moment of pause where you're living in the character's head in order to create that connection. I think something I failed at in most of my earlier books and by earlier books, I mean literally everything before Father in the Forest, is I spent no time in my characters' heads. So everything was action written. So the books themselves, I can at least say they're not boring. Someone said, so some people will say they're boring, probably because like they connect with characters inside their heads. But I was so okay. The worst piece of advice I was ever given is show don't tell, because that fucked with me, because I thought you could not tell anything. I thought you had to show literally everything. So I hated writing anything that took place inside the character's head. So I've had these incredibly flat characters because we did not understand any of their internal struggles or dialogue. And everything was shown through action or like outer dialogue. So that advice really fucked with me, because you know what? I feel like writing a book is telling creatively.
Your story, yeah.
And if you try and not tell anything, your pacing is going to be all sorts of fucked. So that's it. I guess if I can also go back and say where I failed, I think I took all the writing advice I got way too seriously instead of just telling the story.
Man, I fucking really agree with that. I had the conversation before, and yeah, show don't tell. I think that's kind of like a hacky way of critique. Like I think I love when people use it in a term of like bad writing, like I guess it's it's one of those things that it's just not a fair representation. Like people will say, oh, oh, that's a problem with show versus tell when it comes to bad writing, but it's like, no, that's not a thing of show versus tell. That's just bad writing. Like this is just a flat character, no matter how. Well, I can't say no matter how. If it was written better, it would be a different story. But yeah, I really never taken that critique with much weight. I mean, show don't tell. We're talking about writing. What are you talking about? Show don't tell versus tell.
It's kind of silly too. Like obviously there are ways to have a scene create more of an emotional connection. Like obviously saying the character is happy is sloppy writing, but you also got to get there, and that's something that you can work on in a later draft. I think something else that I think that the idea of saying show don't tell can really fuck with you on a first draft, because I almost think that the first draft you should almost tell the entire thing, and then you can go back and show in the rewrites.
Man, that's something. I mean, writing for me is like I plot meticulously before I ever sit down. I know the entire ends. Like I'm in the point of view of the characters. That's why I love writing. I really just zone out. I'm just like fucking like there, and I just like type like we talked about on the podcast, but like on books by Adrian, that just like even when I hit like a problem. Literally, well, no, like literature wise, whatever the fuck. When I hit a problem with writing, or when it comes to editing or anything like that, I usually just take my actual problems or emotions that I'm feeling with and just inject into the character. Now, the whole idea of show versus tell kind of got me thinking, especially with how you said that movies is kind of where your first love. When you develop a plot, is it visual to you? Do you think of it like a movie? Does it play out to you like in like a screenplay? Because for me, 100% it does. And for me, most writing is just breaking down what those daydreams are.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. When I'm writing, I'm seeing what I'm writing visually, and I think that the more clear I make it, the better my writing is. Like if I can create, the more senses I can incorporate, and the more clear I can make the characters in the scene, the better the writing is. And I think part of the issue I have sometimes is I want to advance the plot before I want to create the characters.
Oh shit, that's a good one. Well, the whole thing is that like just character development really does tie in so heavily with plot development. You know what I mean? It's actually funny. Breaking Bad, you said that you're not that big of a fan of the show, right?
I'm happy I saw it all the way through. Okay. I tried once and failed, and then I tried again and succeeded. I'm happy I finally got all the way through, because I can see why it's so great. I just got bored a lot.
I mean, I guess I love situational humor, and to me that show like just gets you early on. Like there's one scene where
shit, man, I just gotta go to the bathroom real quick. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, pause again. Technical difficulty. All right, and we are back. Okay, now I'm fucking up at the end of the podcast.
What is time?
What is time, really?
It's linear, and in order to comfort ourselves, we put it on a circular clock. In order to comfort ourselves, we're like, I'll be able to make up for it tomorrow because I always get another Monday, and I always get another weekend, and I always get another 2:00. But in reality, it's linear, and you never get that time back.
Now, you've seen Infinity Wars and like the whole time travel thing they did there, right?
Yeah, that's not Breaking Bad.
Oh, right. Well, yeah, we could have talked about Breaking Bad, but I don't want to talk about Breaking Bad anymore. I talk about that. I mean, every goddamn chance I have, it's like the button I always fucking press. It is.
I'm all for it. I mean, I don't need to talk about Breaking Bad. I lost interest once Christian Ritter died.
Oh my God, is she? Man, she's
pretty
fine. My God, she is fine.
She's very pretty. Yeah.
My
Actually,
God.
I went to high school.
Oh my God, I'm about to say.
No, not with Kristen Ritter. But you know Jessica Jones.
Well, I don't like know her, but like I've seen the show.
Yeah, no. I'm saying I went to high school with the girl who played young Jessica Jones in all the flashbacks.
What?
Yeah, that's kind of cool, right?
That is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, she's cool. I mean, I don't talk to her at all anymore. I'm not friends with her at all. I just like went to high school with her.
I went to school with a girl named Sarah Connors. That was her, and spelled exactly just from the Terminator movies. She had no anything else. I don't even know if she's seen the movies or anything like that. But every time, I mean, we were in a class of engineers, so anytime somebody said her name, it was like, you know, like a scene from a high school movie when the hot girl comes in, everyone just starts looking at her. Sarah Connors. She was like, "Yeah, I get it. I know."
Was she hot?
I mean, you know,
he shook his head. He shook his head, ladies and gentlemen. So that mean, I'm happy she was getting positive attention.
I mean, you know, God bless her. You know, if you hear this, Sarah Connor, I apologize.
Well, you just said like the hot girl walked into the room, and I was like, well, was she hot? That's all right. I didn't mean to objectify a classmate. Yeah, I never met.
Well, yeah, we're definitely not doing that. But if you've ever been to an engineering school, I mean, well, I can't say an engineering.
Sarah Connor, I'm ugly as fuck too. Don't worry.
Yeah, well, I'm a fucking prize winner. What are we talking about?
Yeah, we're all ugly here.
Yeah,
we're all Dr. Seuss characters.
Exactly.
The non-racist ones.
Huh. All right, you know that's a great way to kind of end the podcast. I feel that would be
that's a great way to end the podcast.
Like, what do you feel about separating an artist from their creation?
Oh, I think you have to, and I mean that, but I also want to be consistent. I mean that for the positives too. Like I don't think that you want to have the positives influence their work as well. So I do think that artists are independent of their work, and it should stay that way for both positives and negatives.
100%.
And they cannot change the work either. I am sorry. I have been cutting you off the Slayer podcast, and I fucking suck, and I am sorry. But I just mean that with like so her views on gender aside, with J.K. Rowling, I just mean she needs to like stop editing the books after
and tweeting.
Yeah, like the books exist. All of these additions that you're saying happened in the book now are, I mean, the fact that she said cursed
Harry could be black. Who knows? Like I wrote it.
I mean, I don't care. I don't care about that. It's just more along the lines of like the fact that she said cursed child is canon in her eyes makes me think that everything she said after the books have been published like don't actually matter. Yes, it's her world, but I mean, God, she didn't actually like. First off, she said Dumbledore and Grindelwald were gay. Well, she said Dumbledore was gay, and then she insinuated that he and Grindelwald had a relationship. But now in the new movies, when she actually had the opportunity to show it, she doesn't whatsoever. They just made a blood bond. Like, so clearly you don't believe the shit you're saying. You're just tweeting to stay relevant. So I think that we have to separate the work from the authors completely. Their input after it doesn't matter. Their positive contributions afterwards don't matter. Their negative contributions afterward don't matter. Author, work, completely different. And that also is a very powerful thing for the authors that are listening, because it means that any negative reviews have absolutely nothing to do with you, and you should not take them personally.
Well fucking said. Like, if you're a fan of hip-hop, you can, I mean, obviously Kanye's fucking crazy, but if you're not going to say that the man contributed pretty decently to the genre, I mean, I think that is just insane.
Oh, he has at least 2 classics. At
least. Like, I think that's like, if you're not even a fan, you get at least like pop, like amazing. You're gonna say that song's not amazing.
At least College Dropout and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
without 808 and heartbeats. I mean, dude,
I don't like that one
on.
that much, but I mean, I can respect it. Yeah, not that much, but like
maybe
I mean,
it was time frame because music is again, it was the whole thing about emotion. Like music really does tie into like Chris Rock actually said it great. Whatever music you were listening when you started fucking is your music until you die. That is your shit.
No, but all I'm saying is he has at least 2 classics, and I think everyone can at least agree with that. And I think everyone has College Dropout as one of them.
Yeah, I mean, a friend of mine used to say that like that used to be like a calling card. It's like oh yeah, I'm a fan of old school Kanye. It's like that was just like a thing. It's like liking Nickelodeon. Like who are you gonna find within your generation that's gonna say, oh no, yeah, I hated Nickelodeon growing up? It's like what?
You have Hulu?
Back here and here.
If you have it, you should check out. There's a Nickelodeon documentary called The Orange Years on it. It's about the start of Nickelodeon.
When did it start? Like, were we really the first generation?
No, I mean Nickelodeon. Well, yeah, we were, but like it started before. How old are you?
26.
Okay, I'm 29, and it started before me. So we're the first. It's our generation, but it's older than us. It was like late 80s, I think.
Were they counterculture to what Looney Tunes was doing at the time, and like Walt Disney?
They were incredibly unique in that they were the first station for kids, like exclusively for kids, not just creating.
What about Cartoon Network?
I mean, I watched Cartoon Network too as a kid. Creating child-friendly content and being a network for kids are two completely different things. So they wanted to be an entirely child network, and so their entire existence was for children. And what that meant was they had to reach children in a way that other networks didn't. The documentary was a bit more of a PR piece than a documentary because it only looked at the good side, but it still is interesting nonetheless. And I like the fact that it talked about how what Nickelodeon strived to do was to reach this generation. I mean, the children of Nickelodeon, like all generations, had their own unique problems. Their unique problems were they were coming from a generation where both parents worked and a high divorce rate. So they did not have the same family life as previous generations. They often went home and their babysitter was the television. And so Nickelodeon had to reach them in a way that television had never reached children before. And it had to relate to their angst, and it had to take their problems seriously. And that's what Nickelodeon was able to accomplish.
Now, I fucking love that for a reason that I've actually been scratching to ask you about, and I guess I've just been going off a tangent and keep on forgetting to bring it up, but it is why I love that you do these like crazy existential philosophical children's book. Like to me, that is the highest level of content ever. Like if you're able to truly like talk about adult concepts to children, because it's actually what I wanted to talk about in the beginning of the podcast. Like to me,
let's go. Let's do another 2 hours. Come on.
we'll do it. We'll knock it out real quick. But what I loved about the whole thing with children's, like having those type of themes and ideas in children's content, is how it develops in the brain. I can't tell you the amount of times that I watched when I was 8 some type of TV show or movie that the themes went right across my head. And then I didn't watch it again, but then for whatever reason, when I just thought back on it when I was 16 or 17, I was able to break down those themes that went over my head. It's just because I think the brain naturally does that. No matter, people love to say is like, oh, I have a horrible memory. And like, yeah, you do kind of like like what you can automatically recall, like your, like, I guess like conscious brain, but your subconscious brain is always fucking recording. And I think that when certain things hit a note, I think that goes across time frame against, you can take a person from 1917 and put a person from 2150. And I think certain themes of just human, our struggle, what life is, just ricochet across all that. And I think that the highest level of that is the Dr. Seuss type of children's content that can go, again, not the racist ones, but like, but the ones that can really kind of, Soul cleaned up the fucking awards this year.
Pixar is incredibly unique.
Oh my God, Toy Story, just everything they do just speaks to that kind of higher frequency of thought, but still getting in and talking to kids and bringing it down to that level. So how do you do that? Because I'm asking vicariously, because like I said, that is my highest. I want to be able to get to that level. I want to be where you're at. But like
oh,
for
God,
right now,
aim higher than that, man. Aim higher than that.
But again, I'm loving your ideas. Like I genuinely want to read a lot of your shit.
So I mean, the basic answer is just going to be write the books that you want to read, which I don't think is actually a good answer whatsoever.
Show not tell.
I mean, so for the people that are actually interested in writing and don't know where to start, I would say find an audience that already exists and write for them, because then you'll sell to a pre-made audience. That's the fastest way to do it. As far as like what I do with my concepts, it's there's really no secret to it. If you're writing for children and you want to write for children and like sort of on a higher frequency as you described it, you just got to treat their intelligence with a bit more respect. I mean, I joke with my brother all the time because he has two beautiful daughters now. And when he was first a new father, and he was like, you know, as all new fathers are, worried that he's gonna fuck it all up. I was like, Adam, don't worry. Children are durable. If you drop them, they're fine. But like I feel like they are durable, and they can endure a lot. And I'm talking strictly like at this point in time philosophically and like intellectually.
Yeah, definitely.
You can stretch their mind, and you can speak to them more intelligently than you thought. You don't have to speak down to them. You can speak to them with your work and engage with them in a conversation of deeper meaning and expand their mind. Now, they might not digest everything that you're presenting to them, but as long as what you're doing isn't crossing any lines, like obviously don't have any sex in a kid's book, obviously don't have any gore and violence. You can have some violence, but like don't make it gory and shit like that. You can explore new ideas pretty freely. And I guess the trick is don't speak to them like they're dumb.
Yeah, like you know, I get made fun of by my siblings, and I guess it makes sense because we got pretty good age frame on me. But they will always look at me for being like a kid for like finding like philosophical meaning in like animation like that. Like I'll sit down and watch Avatar and knock it out. And I'm talking about be entertained the same way I watch Inception, watch
Okay,
Tenet.
if you don't see philosophy in Avatar, you're the problem. Like it's pretty explicit.
Come on. That's the fuck. I mean, oh my god, that is just. I remember when
there's a 3-season redemption arc.
Yeah,
and Tales of Genocide. Like what the fuck?
But again, it's just one of those things that it's just like, I don't know. I guess people can't get over the initial wall of animation, which I guess it's kind of like the whole thing of like indie versus traditional. It's just like people can't get over the hump that there actually might be, you know, gold in the indie industry. You don't have to drop $30 on an Obama book when it comes out. You can spend like, you know, you can spend the exact same amount of money, buy 15 indie books, and you'll probably be entertained for much longer and have just, I mean, great works and just support people that will really give a fuck. You think Obama gives a fuck with one more sale?
Only books I buy are indie. I go to the library for everything else. That's why the libraries are there.
Yes. Fuck, I have library books right here.
You don't even need to have you don't even need to get the physical. And more power to you for doing it. But all I mean is like with and this is, I know this is rather American centric, but I'll say it anyway. We have apps like Libby where you can download it on your phone, on your iPad, on whatever device that you like, and put your library card number into it and get access to your library's digital and audiobook files. And chances are your library has a lot. My library, I use 2 libraries, and between the 2 of them, I've never not been able to find a book.
Honestly, and for anyone that's interested in that too, fucking movies. I'm telling you, your library has the most crazy. I mean, if you're really into like start watching the classics, Criterion era, you want to start watching, you know, Citizen Kane and you know, American History X, all that really cool shit. They have Blu-ray copies of all that, and it's for free, $3.50. All right, you just show up, and you get your shit, and that's it. That's the end of the fucking story.
Well, you pay for it in taxes, so you know actually it's one of the few times that you can actually get something back for your taxes. I mean, we don't get shit for our taxes. Might as well take advantage of something we pay for.
I'm telling you. And then we gotta like go and have give a full report to a private company that somehow has the ability to put you in jail if you fuck up on your taxes. And if we gotta vouch them and be like, hey, I think maybe I paid too much this year. It's like, all right, fuck it. We'll give you we'll kick you back some way. But we are finance tangent to get in there. We're gonna end it there. Final thoughts. RK, this has been phenomenal. Thank you for coming on. Just such a stream of consciousness conversation.
My pleasure. Final thoughts: pay your taxes so you don't go to jail.
Yeah, you don't want to blow up. Yeah, can you imagine becoming like an indie, blowing up, and then getting pulling a Wesley Snipes? That would suck.
I mean, so like he did it, and now he's out, and he's still Wesley Snipes, so he's awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's like the corporations that get fined like 5 million, even though them polluting a lake making them 5 billion that year. It's like, oh, okay, well, I think
don't get me fucking
I think
started.
We'll be all
right. Don't get me fucking started. This goes back to punk rock with finance. Let's take all these fuckers down with crypto.
I think that's a great way to end it. GME, rocket to the moon, motherfuckers. RK, again, thank you so much. Where can people find you for the people listening? Instagram. I don't know if you said the website is here. What about
I mean, I have a website, but I don't fucking
use.
No, I don't really fucking use it. I mean, if y'all want to reach me, author RK Gold on Instagram, that works. Your Morning Guru on Instagram. I mean, if y'all want to hear me more, like I do have a daily live stream every weekday. Your Morning Guru on YouTube with SAVY from SAVY Writes Books. Join the club. We love it. We love having the podcast. Get in before it takes off because it's growing. Get in now. Invest early. We're mooning.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. I really think this industry is just gonna fucking go in the route of the music industry. I really do believe that.
Writing or podcast? Because I'm a better podcaster than writer.
Writing. Man, I don't know. I would hope that I do writing. I'm better.
Podcasting is easy, dude. I just read books and then I go on a podcast and talk about what I read, and it's pretty fucking easy.
Yeah, I just sit here and talk to people. It's the easiest shit ever. So, again, pick up his books as well. I mean, if you
don't, like, get a puppy, rescue a dog.
Yeah, definitely
make a difference.
But for sure, Amazon, RK Gold, give him a follow. I was about to fuck up your titles. Were there Father in the Forest? You have actually I can't. Secrets of the Flowers. Beds Are for Flowers. Book 2. Oh, okay, cool. I love your covers. I really do.
Thank
Brynwood and Lost in the Clouds. If you're interested, pick it up. Well worth the read. Just for the
Brynwood was gonna be another fucking series. Don't get me started on that one. That was gonna be a prequel to a series, and I just said, "Fuck it, I think I'm done."
Fuck. Well, again,
I mean, like, it's a complete story. I probably shouldn't spoil my own books on here, but fuck it, I'll spoil my own book on here. It fucking ends with the main character biting on a piece of poison and spitting it in the villain's mouth because she wanted to like make out with him the entire book, and she finally got to, and so he spits poison into her mouth, so she can't chase after his sister. And then I was gonna write a series about the villain from that book surviving the poison and basically going full Terminator. Like, she's blind in one eye and she had a stroke, so she's like limping with one leg, and she's just like full on Terminator trying to find this girl that escaped to kill her.
Oh fuck. I always loved the idea that Quentin Tarantino was gonna make a Kill Bill 3 based on
the girl from the first movie.
Yes, yeah. Fuck. Man, that would have been fucking lit. I mean, I'll still watch that shit.
Fine, one day you're gonna remember this. You're gonna find me and get your revenge.
I'm telling you, it lines up perfectly. Oh my god. Well, again, before we go off into another tangent for 2 hours, which should easily happen in this goddamn podcast.
Adios, amigos.
Yeah, adios. Thank you. Catch back on us on Monday when we have another author interview, and on Friday when we have a group cast. Peace out. And RK, thank you again.